This episode of The Young Turks is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook at audiblepodcast.com/TYT.
Rush Limbaugh's been listening to my MSNBC show. I know, he can't get enough of me. It's not a big deal. And he's decided that he's going to go after me. He's got a curious pronunciation of my name, but mainly go after Robert Reich. Let's have fun, and I will give you theories on why he's pronouncing my name this way after we listen.
Gonna say that. Number 19, Robert B. Reich was on MSNBC Live last night.
What the hell?
With the anchor Cenk Uygur, and he spoke with Reich, and Cenk Uygur said, "Look, this isn't about let's get the money from the rich, because that's where it is, and they've accumulated all the wealth at the top. It also makes sense for the rich if we had more equal distribution of income because of the effect it would have on the middle class." Tell us about that. Why do you think it's better to redistribute the wealth? Why? I mean, if you go buying less cars and less homes and less everything, how are corporations and rich people supposed to make any money? I mean, it hurts everybody if you make everybody poorer, doesn't it, Secretary Reich?
Also breeds a kind of anger. I mean, so many middle-class people, lower middle-class people, working-class people are frustrated. Republicans are very good at channeling that anger toward what? Government, immigrants, public employees. An angry population and an angry populace could just as easily turn their anger toward the very rich. Again, it is in the interest of the people at the top to actually call for a more equitable distribution of the gains of economic growth and a better tax system, a tax system that is fair.
Did you hear he's talking in terms of an actual war? He's telling the rich, you better give up the money before the people with pitchforks come to your house and get it from you. He's saying, you rich people, you better willingly give it up because these people are soon going to figure out how to get into your house and steal it from you.
Oh, my God.
And you'd feel a lot safer if you gave it up. He's actually saying this. Robert
What's funny
Reich
about that is
arguing the rich should welcome redistributing more of their income to prevent an angry American populace from turning on them. As though if it were to happen, he would encourage it. That's where we are, the American left. This, by the way, isn't that already happening? Isn't that what's happening in Wisconsin? Can we be honest? Isn't this sort of what all this is about? All these people occupying the Capitol building and demanding all these public sector union but it's not the rich they're demanding it from, is it? It's average Americans. Average Americans, many of them whom are underemployed, unemployed, or what have you. Isn't that who these teachers and public employees are saying, give us more, give us more? You fund our health care, you fund our retirement. But they're not saying it to the rich, are they? It's what the king of Saudi Arabia is doing. It's what Gaddafi is doing. Quick time out, folks. Sit tight. We'll be back. Don't go away.
Wow.
Okay, let's break down all the ways that doesn't make sense before we get to the names. First of all, Gaddafi, et cetera, are the rich, and they're the ones that are suppressing the protesters. So that analogy makes no sense. How are the protesters in Wisconsin like Gaddafi? No logic whatsoever. The exact opposite of logic. And second of all, he's saying, look, Reich is saying go in there with pitchforks and rob the rich. That's literally what he's saying, except that isn't what he said. It's literally not what he said, right? So, but Rush doesn't mind putting that in there. And then he says, in Wisconsin, that's what these people want. They would just want to take the money. Except they don't want to take it from the rich. They want to take it from the other middle class. Really? That's not true. One of the things they complain about is you just gave corporate tax cuts to the rich and to the corporations. So now Rush found, I think, in the middle of that, realized, oh, my God, my audience might agree with them. So he turned it around to put the middle class against one another. But now let's get to the fun part, the names. I'm not sure whose name he mispronounced worse, Robert Reich or Cenk Uygur. Now, why is he doing that? My guess is he doesn't know and he doesn't care. Maybe somebody said at some point, hey, Rush, it's actually Cenk Uygur. And he's like, who cares? Let's make him sound like a foreigner. Cenk Uygur, right? That's my main guess. But here's the other part of it. remember, he took so many drugs that he's deaf. And so he doesn't know how to pronounce Cenk Uygur. He's never heard it because he's a drug addict that destroyed his own body. And so he can't hear what the name sounds like. And I think that's the main reason why he mispronounces it.
I mean, that could be right, but I think that he went out of his way. Honestly, you might disagree with this, but I think he went out of his way to make fun of you and Robert Reich. I mean, come on, Robert Reich. Like for like 5 hours. Come on. And then he didn't call you Cenk Uygur. He called you Cenk Uygur. There's no I in your name. Like, it was so obvious that he did it to make fun of you guys. Come on.
No. I get that part of it, right? And it's an extra win in his mind because he's like, it sounds foreign. That's so funny. And then the second part is that he's a goofball and he's like the least funny person in America.
In the world.
Yeah, anytime anybody says, oh, you know what? The great thing about Rush Limbaugh is he's such an entertainer. He's so funny. Really? Then you have the worst sense of humor in the world. Like, you think, like, hey, making fun of somebody's name? That's so funny. That's so funny. It's not that funny, dude. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm 1,000,000% used to it. It's only happened every single year that I've been in the United States over and over. And I don't care. I'm a guy who's got enormously thick skin. It just makes him look stupid.
Right. I think the only thing about him that's funny is his amazing lack of logic. And I love how he took Robert Reich's words and he just twisted them and twisted them. Oh, the middle class is coming to get you with their pitchforks. They're going to kill you. Like, oh, he's so crazy. Like, how can people make the argument that this guy does not fear-monger? That this guy doesn't go around spreading fear over completely innocent people? It's ridiculous. But
And in the middle, he twisted it to like, because he realized, hey, you know what? My audience might also want to grab pitchforks and go after the rich, right? So in the middle, he was like, oh, he's coming after the rich, and he's going to say they're coming into their homes. And I meant he's going after the other middle class and the unemployed and the underemployed. Oh, really? Like all of a sudden, Rush Limbaugh cares about the unemployed and the underemployed? Get out of here. You know what he's worried about? He's worried about his own fat ass in his mansion in Palm Beach. He's like, oh, do they have pitchforks? I hope they're not coming for me.
look, he just wants to make sure that no one comes after his lavender candles in his beautiful mansion. So just let it go, Cenk, let it go. He's looking out for his own interests.
Audible.com is the leading provider of audiobooks. They've got 75,000 different titles. A book I've always meant to read but didn't have time for is Guns, Germs, and Steel. What I'm going to do is I'm going to listen to it through Audible.com. Actually, if you're a Young Turks listener, you get a free audiobook at audiblepodcast.com/TYT.